Hey, Soraya, how's it going?
I'm all right. How about you?
I'm really excited. I'm doing super good
Uh,
today.
Are you excited because it's Thanksgiving?
I'm excited because of Thanksgiving. Yes, I'm excited because we're getting ready to go on a trip um, to visit my grandbabies. That's very exciting. But I'm also excited for what's about to happen right now, Soraya.
Okay, so first of all, let's just kind of give people a few clues. First of all, joining us today will be the one and only Ronnie Barnett as a guest host. But joining us today, and today really is a tip of the hat to Jeff and Ronnie for making it happen. But someone who is connected in some way, shape, and form to a number of either people we've had on the show or subjects of shows. And let's just give people a little, a little extra hint. So this person's connected to the Connells, Game Theory. Oh my gosh. I want to say a few more, but then I think I'll blow the roof off the sucker. Don Dixon. Um, All right. Who else can I say without saying this person's name, Jeff?
Marty Jones.
Yeah.
I don't want to go with like one of the bigger ones,
Right.
but the DBs, Velvet
That's right.
Crush,
Yes. I
uh,
mean,
the
this
Windbreakers.
this person has had their hand in a number of releases we've talked about, people we've had on that we've been really fortunate to have on. And today is really just an amazing day that we get to have a little chat with this person. All right, Jeff. I think people already have a guess. Why don't you just let the cat out the bag? Who's on
Okay.
today?
Yeah, college rock royalty, Soraya. So Mitch Easter, we're talking to Mitch because his band Let's Active is remastering their catalog, and it's going to be streaming the day that this comes out. So that will be November 28th, the whole catalog. So these two albums, I got the albums sitting here, but the
Yeah.
entire Let's Active catalog will be available remastered and available on all streaming services, which I'm really glad about because, I prefer vinyl, CD, but cars don't come with CD players anymore, right?
No, they
Um,
don't. No
yeah.
longer.
And when I'm jogging with my walking briskly with my, let's be honest here. When I'm when I'm walking briskly with my iPhone and my headset on, I can't throw on my vinyl record and walk with it. So I'm really happy that it's going to be their catalog is going to be available on streaming services. Some of my favorite albums are by Let's Active. One of my favorite concerts I've ever seen was Let's Active in Hollywood around 87, 88. But very excited. But not only that, Mitch has um, been involved with whether engineering, producing, performing, singing on I looked it up, sorry, over 100 of my records from my catalog has Mitch's name on it. So very excited about today, but looking forward to finding out how this happened.
Yeah.
Why now? Why did they decide to remaster and put this on?
And not only that, Jeff, but on November the 29th, um, there will be a
Tomorrow.
show in North Carolina. So for those of you folks who are near that area, you need to go and take advantage of this because that is really going to be a treat. But Jeff, this person has been on our unicorn list for many, many a day. So I'm just glad that we get to sit down and have a small chat with Mitch Easter and talk about Let's Active, talk about this real treat for fans to have access to the entire catalog and remastered and all that good stuff. So, Jeff, I think you and I should be quiet, and I think we should just hop on in. How about that?
Yeah, let's get active. I don't know if that works, but
Hi, this is Soraya.
And this is Jeff,
Our podcast is called Paisley Stage Raspberry and Rhyme.
a podcast where the two of us play music that we like and share anecdotes and background about the tunes.
We hope you'll join our conversation. And without further ado, a grooviar.
Let's get groovy.
Shall we just jump on in?
Let's do it.
All right. So, first of all, for our listeners, you have the immense treat of not only joining us today, our guest host, Ronnie Barnett, but the one, the only Mitch Easter. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
On
This-
short notice, too, Mitch. Thank you.
No problem.
Yeah.
Well, one of the things that our listeners already know, and this was such great news, is that Let's Active's catalog is going to be available beginning November the 28th on a number of streaming platforms, but really it's this beautiful labor of love by Super Visible Multimedia that helped make this happen. And then there's the show in Winston-Salem at the Ramcat on November the 29th. Mitch Easter and gang playing selections from 4 albums. So we want to, one, welcome you, but we also want to know, how did this project come about? How did we get these 4 albums re-entered into the musical universe?
Well, it's all the work of Timothy J. Smith of Super Visible Multimedia, who just called me out of the blue and started talking about this stuff. And I don't think I had met him before, but he clearly knew these records and seemed to really like them and stuff. And it's true that the records had never been streamed in any kind of consistent way. There'd be a few songs here and there, and then they would disappear and they'd pop up, and people would always ask us, like, why is Mitch doing that? And of course, I have nothing to do with it. I don't know how it works or anything. So, Timothy, coming from the real record biz, has sort of transitioned, I guess, his work into making these type things happen, because there's all this catalog stuff out there that's in the same kind of condition as our stuff is in, which is to say, semi-forgotten. The labels that owns this now, or the businesses or controls it, is Universal, and that's a few labels between I.R.S. and them. So the people working at Universal may have never heard of this band and stuff. So it's a kind of a smart thing to do, because these catalogs are still incredibly of interest to some people.
Yeah, I.R.S. is like, there's not a lot of I.R.S. on streaming, and the ones that are basically ones that people got the rights back to, like
Is that right?
Skafish. Like Skafish got his records back, and Henry Badowski has come out recently streaming. And
How do you do that? There was that thing of getting your stuff back after a certain period of time, and I thought that was just sort of ignored by the biz, but I guess it happens for some people.
yeah, it's true, but there's like, and again, I'm no lawyer like you, Mitch. I don't understand all this stuff, but there's a short window for that too. Like, it's like you only have like whatever 2 months after it turns 35 or something like that. And yeah, it's very complex.
Okay.
But I'm glad. Yeah, I did a search. I'm new to Spotify. I avoided it like a lot of people until these $300 box sets started coming out this year.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I can hear the Springsteen box set like on Spot. And actually, I see why people like this. You know what I mean?
Oh,
so,
right.
So it's good that Let's Active, because the Let's Active tribute is on Spotify, I noticed.
Oh, from many years ago, huh?
Yeah, and
wow.
Which is very good, by the way. I never heard it, but
it's a pretty good one. Yeah, I was amazed the guy that put that out is playing with us at the show, and I didn't know him before that, and that was kind of cool that he was in my town and he organized that thing. There's good tracks on there.
He got it up, but yeah, like you say, with Universal owning everything, I think just whatever. If you're not Bon Jovi, they're not taking anybody's call, or
yeah.
So
well, anyway, everything's going to change now. I think we're going to break through. I think the world has caught up to us and at last, and this is. I mean, it's going to be so big. But actually, I'm just hoping I can get through this set because I haven't played these songs a lot. Some of them I have. There's one of them I think I haven't played since 1986. So I have to sort of think about that one a little bit. And it's fun and weird. All at once to be doing this show, but the show's sold out, so that's kind of cool.
How many songs are you doing?
Well, I think we know about 20, and we won't do all those because people
Okay.
should not play forever. But it's. I think what we're going to do is 2 new wave sets with a tiny break, and you know what a new wave set? It's 7 or 8 songs.
Okay.
And I love those new wave sets. I love that. You go in and do your thing and get out. If you're a new band, that made so much sense, and then
Yeah.
that just fizzled out. But I
Yeah.
have these early Let's Active playlist. I mean, set lists, and they're that many songs, and that's what the clubs wanted us to do. And that was
Yeah.
not after them hearing us and go, "That's about enough of you." But like that's just what people were doing for a while there. It was great.
Yeah,
So
I
we're
have
I
a
actually,
two of them.
I saw Let's Active on the first tour, Mitch, in Austin. You put a rock club called the Back Room.
Okay,
Yeah, and it's that was the big hair era of Let's Active.
right. And that wasn't the place that was also like formerly a slaughterhouse or something, was it?
I don't know. It could
Because there
be.
was some meat industry kind of place we played at a few times where it went down and down into this, some
There's a
thing.
lot of those, right? There's a place in Chicago called Reggie's with a drain on the stage. It's a concrete stage with the drain.
I mean,
Uh,
it's always good to have a drain. I mean, anywhere you can work.
Good point. That's a good point.
Yeah.
I
I mean,
have a oh, I'm
I
sorry.
was just going to say, or a trap door. I mean, sometimes a trap door is
yeah,
even.
no, true, true. The drain would have worked for Guided by Voices, that's for sure.
Oh,
All
good
right.
point.
Well,
I
Go ahead,
have
Soraya.
a follow-up question because in a recent interview, you said we're going to do the set in reverse chronological order, which was my wife's idea,
yeah.
and I was curious about that.
She just said that, and I don't know why she said that, and I don't know why it struck me as like, yeah, let's do that. And I've said that to the other people that are playing on this, and they all went like, yeah. So I think that's why we're doing it. I mean, the deeper reasoning I can't explain, but I mean, what I was kind of hoping was that it would, the last stuff is sort of more standard rock music and it's kind of thicker. So I
Mhm.
thought it might be good for people's ears if they get assaulted and then they get slowly relieved as it goes on, because the older stuff is more kind of spindly and not as filled in, which might be kind of easier to take as the night wears on. Maybe that was my thought about it, but I don't really know why we're doing that. We just are, or maybe we're just contrary or back.
No, that really does make sense. I've never thought about that before. But yeah.
Also, the less active stuff, the older it is, the harder it is to play. And I think that might be useful to get
That's
warmed up. And hopefully also that can work in conjunction to how much people drink in the audience and how forgiving they on.
so it's all coming together. There's multiple reasons why this is happening.
Yeah, as it turns out, it's like a carefully constructed, situation. But
Without being carefully constructed.
exactly, yeah, it's plausible deniability or whatever the term is for all that.
So Mitch, I'm not an audiophile, but although I do love records, so this whole catalog coming out digitally, well, this is just a 12-inch single, but coming out on streaming services is great because there's people like me, if I'm in my office, I'm listening to vinyl because I like holding, my eyes aren't good. I like holding something that's bigger. I actually like getting up to flip the record. I grew up in the vinyl era. I don't think it's necessarily warmer or any of that kind of stuff. It's just the experience. But cars don't. Then there's these, right? So
Yeah,
these sound great too, and I can play these in my old car. But the new cars don't have any devices for this, and I'm not going to load up your music on my phone, Mitch. Sorry, but I have my phone with me, so now that this is going to be available streaming, this is perfect for people like me that love your music. But I'm going to be on the road, so thank you that this is finally happening, so I can be driving across the country and just ask for your music to be played. Not having a CD player anymore, so I appreciate that this is available streaming.
yeah. I mean, it's the thing is, all the complaints about any kind of new technology are sort of true for a little while, and then the things get better. It's like the MP3s and things like that used to truly sound strange, and now they sound fine. So I'm not afraid of the streaming anymore, certainly sound quality wise. And honestly, it is. I'm kind of a cassette guy. I lament the passing of cassettes in cars. Because there's the people's format, and you've got your old mixtapes and all that stuff. It's so convenient, and you didn't really worry about how it sounded. It sounded okay. So this probably sounds better than some cassettes, and it's great. And yeah, I mean, I still never do listen to streaming stuff, just maybe because I'm surrounded by record players and stuff. But I mean, I don't have any objection to it, and I think it's totally sensible to be down with what people actually do. And what they actually do now is mostly stream stuff, I guess. I'm so out of it, I don't know, but I think that's probably true. I've heard that.
It's
Yeah.
convenience, right? It's
Yeah.
convenient to, and then so the catalog's been remastered for streaming. Um, have you heard the remastered versions? I'm sure you have, and
Yeah,
you approve of those?
I was mystified by that. I thought maybe there was something you had to do to deal with its, super strange, mysterious algorithms or whatever. But it's really not that. And but apparently Universal has a little bit of a budget when they do this for people to remaster stuff. Maybe in case it was not that great the first time around. So we did it. There's a guy in Winston-Salem who I know who did it, and he's Dave McNair. He's a absolutely first-rate mastering engineer who's worked in a lot of places, but he lives here now. So it's just kind of fun to do, and it's not like they sound radically different, but I think they sound pretty good. They are. I mean, the last record always bugged me sonically, but the other ones kind of sound like they should for the time. I think is what we were aiming for, and but they might be a little more consistent or a little louder or whatever now, and that's all to the good, I guess. But it's not a huge change, but it's good, and I think there's a consistency there that'll be great to have.
Yeah, that last one was produced by John Leckie, Mitch.
Yeah.
So was that part of the thing you weren't necessarily satisfied with?
Well, I mean, it was recorded in 1987, at the end of the year, and so I think it sort of sounds like 1987 in a big way.
Right.
And
Right.
I'm not one of those people that automatically hates 80s mixes, but that one, it's just kind of harsh,
Yeah.
It's just kind of slam bangy beyond the Call of Duty, in a way. And but I don't blame them. I think that they thought that's what the job was, in those years. But it somehow, I don't know. Some records that sound like that seem to hit me a little better than that one. That one always made me kind of yow, And but then I've said this to other people, and they're going, "Oh, I like that one," So I'm certainly not going to argue with anybody that likes it. But anyway, I think it might be a little, I don't know, it might be just as painful as ever. But I think it sounds good now,
No, it's a great record. You're right. Virtually any record released in 1987 sounds like that, right?
Kind of like that, yeah.
Yeah, whether it's Bob Dylan or whatever, yeah.
And I just think it's funny, the 80s, everything sort of goes horribly out of fashion and horribly in fashion. I mean, you've certainly seen the rehabilitation of, required by law, you must hate the Fleetwood Mac, and now the total rehabilitation of that band, young and old, but especially young. They love everything about them, and so that may happen with the '80s mixes, but it hasn't happened quite yet. But I think that for me, I have no problem hearing stuff in terms of the year it was done, and it's like, yeah, that's what they were doing then. It just doesn't worry me, but it seems to worry some people right now. And I don't think we were not able to extract the 1987 from that record at all, but it's it's okay.
Mitch, we had a couple write-in questions, and I think this would be a good opportunity for one of them. And this was from Lee Collins from the great state of Georgia. Lee writes, "I'd like to know why the song Grayscale wasn't included on the original version of Cypress. It's an amazing song, and will that be included in the streaming?" So that was something that came out on the CD, but
that's a good question that I may have the wrong answer to. I think it is part of all the streaming stuff. I think what we ended up doing was anything that appeared by I.R.S. got done for this batch of songs, So, I think there might be a song or something that's on the Collector's Choice reissue that we didn't do, and I can't even think of what that is. But the Cypress and A Foot record didn't even come out on CDs when they first came out because they had not been invented yet. So, when they did, they put those two records together, and I think there's like an extra song or something. And the thing with Grayscale was that the LP just got too long with that song on there, and so it just wasn't on there. And I think it got on there when they did the CDs. If I'm not mistaken.
So was it that
that
song didn't fit, or it was your least favorite, or didn't fit the whole vibe?
No, I think it was a matter of time, length of,
okay.
And I think maybe they would have had to take off two other songs. It's a little bit, I'm a little bit unclear on this because the Cypress record was, we were mostly finished with it. And then, I mean, this is so many years later, I'm just going to say, slight, this isn't dirt, but it's getting there. We were told to really hurry up and finish that because we needed to make a release date in England, and we were also going over to England to play. We were only a Wear Whistle Test and played a couple of shows, but and so we had to kind of wrap it up, and that had something to do with the way Cypress got finished, and but then we got to England and they didn't have the record out yet, so it was kind of for nothing. But I think the thing with Grayscale could have had to do with that, but it maybe just had to do with the length of the record. Vinyl records, can't be real long with some interesting exceptions. You're always told about how they start sounding terrible immediately over 20 minutes aside, which is kind of not true, but they get quieter and that freaks some people out. So they were probably trying to keep the sides under 20 minutes or something. That Grayscale song does kind of drone on a bit. So somebody might have just decided, well, we can give them 2 other songs instead of that one. But I don't remember how that decision was made, but I think it had to do with time.
Nice. Sometimes good songs don't make the records, right? And then that's funny that you were under a deadline to finish a record. That's that's the way it was back then, right?
It never happens, right?
Yeah,
yeah. I love the quick and dirty thing, but it's nice when it all kind of adds up, I mean, I in that era, that was the whole thing, right? I mean, knock them out, and I love that about I.R.S. at first. You were supposed to make these quick records, and especially those EPs they did at first. I thought that was a really good idea for new bands. I kind of wish that had continued more, but it kind of fizzled out.
Right, because they couldn't sell it for as long as a record, probably, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I just thought it was a good introduction idea. I mean, they were so cheap, a lot of times they were impressively cheap, which is always a plus.
So what was the band going for long before you got signed to I.R.S.? Did I.R.S. find you because you produced REM?
Well, I think so. I mean, we I suddenly got a lot of attention. I got attention for doing the REM stuff. I mean, it was really weird because they got attention and I got attention all at once, like this is major, and it was just on that Radio for Europe single, which was not like even on a big label or anything.
Yeah.
But, like I did a interview with the New York Times guy, Robert Palmer, I think was that guy, and I think that's who I talked to. And, got my picture in there and all this stuff in Rolling Stone. And that all happened real fast around that time. So, that was going on kind of along with REM, but then the fact that they were like sort of friends too, I think they helped us. Like we did the first real tour we did was with them. Before that, all we did was go to New York and come home, or go to DC and come home. And then we started, playing around the country with them a few times. And along the way, we met some of the other people that worked in other cities, some of the New York City people and stuff that worked for I.R.S. And, I think by the time we got to LA and we were on the Cutting Edge show, we weren't signed, but we were told that we were going to get the call from Miles Copeland about signing us or whatever, so that happened, and that was really cool. Yeah. But I thank them for that. And a couple of the I.R.S. guys that liked us, like Keith Altamira was one of their dudes out there that seemed to like us. And everybody really liked Sarah Ronweber's hair. And I really think without her hair, we would not be speaking today. I owe a lot to her for being in the band and for going for that hair, because when she joined the band, she didn't have that hair. And then she did that, and then we just took off.
No, I.R.S. liked the big hair because the Alarm and stuff. They like bands with big hair.
Oh, it was thrilling. I'd never even been to California before. We went to California and we were on the Cutting Edge, and like this 2 or 3 days after we got there, we first went to San Diego and played, and then we came up to to Hollywood, and we did the Cutting Edge show, and there was the Alarm, and there was just so much hair in the studio. Really.
Yeah. No, what was I going to say? Well, obviously you had the goods, Mitch. We know you're a musician forever, and I got to ask you this. Speaking of reissues, now Peter Hallsupple said it will never happen, but Rittenhouse Square, you wrote most of the songs, so I'd say you're the one that make the call on this.
Well, I think Peter had as many as I did, and his maybe are less stupid than mine. I mean, mine are really stupid.
Well, on the record, I'm just judging by the record. It's mainly your songs. Yeah.
I thought it was me and Peter equally, but anyway, well, I'll take your word for it. That record is really embarrassing, and I think the band was pretty good. I think if we did a tour of Rittenhouse Square and just did our set list, which was like full of Wishbone Ash and Bloodwind Pig and stuff like that. I think that would be important, But I think for us to do our songs would be something maybe not to.
Well, there you go. Double CD. You have the album on one disc, and you have the covers on the other.
Yeah,
it sold for $2,000. Last one that sold on Discogs was 4 years ago for $2,000. Yeah,
that's mind blowing.
So how many do you have? You still have it?
I just have a couple of them,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I'm not trying to buy one, Mitch. I'm just saying.
I can make it. I don't have it.
It's on YouTube. For those.
Oh no!
You probably hate that I'm telling people that. Yeah.
You know what? I wonder.
It's not embarrassing.
I bet I don't have this. Well, I don't know about that, but I don't know if there are a few of them where So the drummer just made those records. We went and recorded that stuff, and we all kind of thought, yeah, okay, because we were in high school and we had to get the cheap rates at the studio, which means that you start your session at midnight. So we were on the school schedule and then starting to record at midnight and stumbling out of there when the sun's coming up, which is very rock and roll and everything. But for us, it was just like dangerous delirium. Can we drive home? And somehow we did get home. But when we heard it again, it's like, yeah, that's not wonderful, and we didn't know what to do, and we just sort of sat on it. And the drummer was he was the more showbiz oriented guy in the band, but he didn't really talk about what he was doing, and he just made those LPs. And so then we sort of got on board briefly, and I made some silkscreen covers that would be. I mean, that should add a couple of grand right there if anybody's.
No, I wanted to ask because the picture on Discogs has like a circle where the label is. It looks like, it's not die cut, but that's what it looks like. So I didn't know if it was.
And there's no picture of the band printed on that sleeve.
Yeah.
It's that horrible picture with the
matching shirts. Yes.
Yeah. See, that was so great. It's like this was happening a long time ago, but it's almost like it was even 10 years before that, because the reason for the matching shirts and that picture and all this is just great now. But, you're always trying to just get booked somewhere, and there's always booking agencies, and in the South, the booking agencies were always at least 15 years behind reality, and so I think, again, it wasn't me, but whoever talked to the booking agency said, well, you guys need a professional photograph and you need to get some outfits together, so we went and bought these shirts at Miller's Variety, which Miller's Variety was a fantastic store that could have easily supplied everybody on the cast of Superfly. It was like good. And we got those shirts there, and they were made out of the most synthetic material ever made in history. And we quickly went out behind the record store where Peter worked and sat on the gas meters and took that picture, with some guy who took wedding pictures or something, I think, or maybe it was somebody we knew.
Yeah.
And again, I was like, oh, this is totally embarrassing. And then we just sent it to the booking agency. But somehow the drummer, and I'm probably totally wrong about this, but it seemed like somehow this guy, the drummer, Bobby Locke, had a copy of the picture and had the master tape or a copy of it or something and just made those things. And I think that the place that pressed the record also printed that wonderful photo with a hole in the middle of it on the inner sleeve.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of unusual. You had the long hair and the look for 72, but you have matching shirts. Not all hard rock bands have that.
That's what I mean. It's like a little bit of like 1962 and then a little bit of like 72. It was kind of confused.
Okay.
Mitch, you mentioned the cutting edge. I've watched that segment so many times when it first came out on repeat. There's a part when I think you're playing if you remember, like a surf version of Blue Line, I think, behind a barn or something.
Oh, that was another. Our first appearance was when we did just the studio thing with the Every Word Means No song. But then they came to our place, and Peter was doing the thing, and that was just a couple of years later, I guess, or maybe just a year later. But yeah, that was out behind my parents' house, and the garage in their house is where we recorded that stuff, the records. And yes, we did do the instrumental Blue Line out there. It was about 11 degrees. It was so cold, but we just.
Yeah. No, we all grew up knowing drive-in studios, Mitch. I mean, in fact, that would be like a calling card to buy the record when you saw produced by you at drive-in studios. So,
people have said that to me, and at the time I thought, yikes, because I was just sort of trying to just have a studio and record people. But I was so lucky. Everybody that came in was pretty cool, and everybody made a record, so it looked like this place was really happening, which I guess it was, and it
Yeah.
was, but I wasn't setting myself up as a label or a entrepreneur or a guardian of taste or anything like that. But
Yeah.
it's just really funny. Like the South got the memo in 1980, and
Right.
that's when we opened up, and it just was cool, because I really wanted to be in the studio business so that I have an excuse to buy the equipment and record myself, of course, like most people that do that and then never play again, which tends to happen. But and I thought that it would be kind of depressing maybe, but slowly I could get a good clientele. But like the first things I did were really weird sessions from New York City and stuff. And so it got off to a great start. For example, the first thing I recorded in there was, I mean, for real, there's always these sort of stumbling in things, but the first session I did in there when the place was open was the Crackers record, which was Steve Almus. And, that was a good session. And when I was in New York, I played with those guys a little bit, and the Crackers, and I think maybe they were in the same rehearsal space as us. These guys called the Baker Brothers. I don't know if there's a Baker Brothers recording, or you would know if there is one that's ever circulated.
I don't.
But
No.
they were awesome duo. It was a guy that played guitar, and he had a good kind of thick, jazz guitar or some kind of thing, and then a guy that played an adding machine and sang.
Wow.
And the adding machine had been turned into a kind of a synth, like he played it like fists and hit just different numbers, and they made different pitches, and then they sang over that, and they came down and recorded with me and Steve, kind of backing them up a little bit, so we were doing sessions like that, and I thought, yes, this is actually working. This is not, I don't have to do jingles for drag race strips, even though I love that. I wasn't really conversant with the details of that, and we were right away doing these, weirdo records, which is all I wanted to do.
Wow. So speaking of Steve Almus, that's another one, Mitch, on I.R.S. It's not anywhere, is Staying Up Late with Beat Rodeo. One of my favorites.
I think I put Steve and our man Timothy Smith together. I think maybe something's going to happen there.
Okay, great. Don't say anymore. Yep. And then the Richard Barone and James Mastro record is coming out again, I heard.
Right.
And recorded at Drive-In. Yep.
That was a super fun session for me. The thing about it is that I was talking about the South being 10 years out of sync. And I think I personally was always 10 years out of sync with where I should have been, which was good. Like, so I was doing this stuff like I'm in my mid-20s with the mentality of somebody in their mid-teens, which I think was kind of the vibe on the Nuts and Bolts record in a way. It was like super fun, and we were doing all this stuff like, you may know there's a version of Dizzy on there that, which is one of the greatest songs ever written, and it has a instrumentation on the record of some strings and stuff, which we did with, Mastro played violin a bit, and maybe kind of a lot, and then Richard had a Casio MT8, which had a good little wheezy, very high violin sound, and then he bowed my precision bass with a violin bow, and which worked, and that was the strings, and so we were just really, that's really good, and of course you'd think now like that sounds terrible, but doing that with enthusiasm somehow makes it sound cool, and I really like that record for that reason. It's just the whole spirit of it was like that, and kind of creative and fun, and there's a concept of a brief tour, so I don't know what will happen next year, but that would be pretty hot, I think.
Oh, okay. Yeah, let's not jump the gun. Mitch, when Drive-In was all going all hot and heavy, did you turn down big projects that you just didn't want to do? Was there anything?
Not much, but I mean, there was this one kind of good band that wanted me to record them, and it was right when we got signed, and I was just like, no, I don't want to do a session. I want to think about my stupid band and write some songs, so I kind of turned them down, and I feel kind of bad about that now, but I did, because I mean, that's the thing. I really have enjoyed recording other bands, and all the people I know is from the studio or the band world, and it's great. But there's, if you come from being in a band, that's still kind of a little above, because you just get to do what you want to do, And so when we got signed and knew it was time to do the thing, it's like, no, I got to do that right now, and I really wanted to, I mean, I love being in the studio, but also, because I really felt like I was old, it's like I thought that, that this has all changed kind of in the last 30 or 40 years, but I'm a baby boomer, so baby boomers grew up with, you're 30 or over the hill. So, the fact that I was like 26 when we got signed made me think, oh, fuck, man, I'm practically dead. And so I really wanted to get on with it, as a
Yeah.
musician.
Yeah. So that makes sense. That makes sense. I know we don't have time to talk to you about everything, Mitch, because you've done so much, but we got to talk about game theory a little bit.
Oh, sure.
Uh, a favorite of mine and everybody, Jeff and Soraya as well.
Yeah.
Lolita Nation, right? That's what everybody talks about.
Lolita Nation. Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah. I mean, was that kind of a collaboration with just you and Scott? Like, because it's a production record, right?
Well, the great thing about Scott was that he had everything planned out. Like usually on these records, by the time that I would arrive where we were going to record it, he had the album sequence figured out. And not many bands do that. They usually kind of feel it out after they've got the tracks, but he always planned everything. And for Lolita Nation, his opening statement was, I want to make a double album that people are going to say would have made a great single album, because everybody always, I mean,
Yeah.
is there any double album that has not been had that said about it, right? None. So he just was, again, getting that out off his chest right away. People are going to say be a great single album. We're going to do the double album. And the thing about that one, though, that made it a little less than totally unplanned was that we cut the tracks in California at this place, CD. And then the plan was to come back to my place to mix it. And I'm not quite sure why that was, but it was. And so that was just Scott and me. And so that was a different vibe, and so it got a little bit more like nuts and bolts in a way, like, oh, how about this? Let's pour water over this thing and mic it up as it, get drips or something, So there's a little bit more of that attitude. And I had a part break on the 24 track tape machine. So suddenly we couldn't work on the record because it was all on 24 tracks. But I had a 16 track machine. So Scott and I recorded some stuff on the 16 track while we waited for the part to come in, And so that was one of these, artistic, calamity / golden moment type events, They could happen in those days of waiting for stuff to arrive and not being able to download the software, but we had to wait for this piece of metal to come in, So it had a bit of, messing around with the finger painting in the later stages. And maybe that's cool for that record, because it's sort of a mixture, isn't it? Of like, the hits and the obvious put together band tracks and then some sort of oddball stuff. But I mean,
weird stuff. Yeah.
And of course
collages.
He is, Mr. Weird Stuff. And I can remember like I did a bunch of records with him, and this was overlapping with us active touring a lot, and sometimes we would have finished one and I'd have a cassette and I'd play it in the van. And sometimes we'd have these tour managers to be like, this stuff all sounds the same. And it's like, it sounds the opposite of all the same, but you could just tell that meant this is going over my head, or what is this guy? This is getting on my nerves, You had to be a Game Theory fan, but I loved everything he did, so it was, those sessions were super great for me. I love doing them.
Yeah, no, he's my favorite songwriter of all time. At the time I thought like this guy's going to get discovered by like Big Star did later, and it's kind of happened a bit, but it should happen more.
This is going back to the 1987 problem a little bit, but in the South, it's funny that it was bands like Depeche Mode and stuff were loved here, but we didn't really produce bands like that here, at all. Not much. I recorded one or two kind of synthy bands back in those days, but that's about it, this is guitar land out here, and so, but I'm sort of contrary, and I feel like not even contrary. I just like a lot of stuff. So a lot of the new wave and guitar dogma stuff was just, to me, kind of like, yeah, whatever, So I was kind of thrilled that Game Theory boldly had these foamy sounding polyphonic synths all over the place, and all these high frequencies that are kind of worrisome to the more guitar oriented, down to earth, Americana leaning-ish bands that, so, but Scott was so bold about that. But at the same time, I kept thinking, I wonder if those guys relocated like to the East Coast for like a year, if it wouldn't have helped them commercially, because they were so far into this sort of, in the United States, that's kind of sound that wasn't as appreciated at the time, I don't think, as the guitar stuff,
Right.
And they had plenty of guitars on there, but you know what I mean? The perception of them was that they were this sort of airy, weird, smarty pants thing that just, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
But I
You're right
wouldn't
about the
want to.
synths too. No one was using synth those.
No,
Cheesy is the wrong word, but the synths like that,
Yeah.
but that's what it was universally called in. I mean, the thing is that like I say, I wouldn't really want them to change, but I
Yeah.
just thought maybe they would just soak up some more. I don't know what I'm just running my mouth here because mainly
No.
I'm just frustrated that they didn't do better. They did pretty well, actually. I remember like they played in Charlotte, and that show was crazy. You know, it was like this big sweaty rock show, people just going nuts and stuff for them at the height of the Lolita Nation era. So
Yeah.
people liked them. I think it's probably harder to tour from the West Coast, right? Because you've got this big
Yeah.
gap, of shows. Like on the East, you can not go very far and play somewhere.
No, true. So if you go to the East Coast, you're doing it once a year back then, the tops, right? Like,
Yeah.
yeah. And,
The thing that struck me about California when I finally went there for the first time in 1983 was how it's so vast. You really can happily forget about the rest of the country if you want to, because everything is there. But for bands, you do need to be kind of nationwide, don't you?
yeah.
Especially in those years, because I think those years really valued all these local scenes, but people like for the bands to visit each other, you might say, because I mean, like there were all these sort of now maybe forgotten scenes, such as Lawrence, Kansas, and I had a couple of Lawrence, Kansas sessions at the studio back in those days. They traveled that far to record in my stupid garage, which is glorious. And I think the stuff always turned out well in the garage, but I used to always wonder, like, are people going to see this and go like, are you kidding me? Because it was a garage.
Is that house still in the family, Mitch? Do you own the house?
No, I mean, I wound up with it. I ended up inheriting it and I sold it.
Yeah.
Because by the time that happened, I just didn't need it anymore, and it just didn't feel the same way, and stuff. So I sold it. But the building is still there. And the cool thing is that the guy that bought it somehow or other found out about its, glorious rock history and looked me up because he dug that. So the guy has it now, or at least knows what went on in there and thinks that was a good thing.
No, that's great because there's a clip of where Tom Scholz recorded the Boston album, like in his basement in Boston.
Yeah.
And the lady has no idea. It shows her on her phone listening. I think I've heard this song.
You were talking about Tom Scholz, who
yeah. What I was going to say is the lady, yeah, she knew more than a feeling, but I don't think she appreciates that space enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's good that the drive-in and the house is appreciated.
Yeah. I think it is. And, somebody made an incredibly realistic one of those historical markers and put it online, but it wasn't real. And a lot of friends of mine said, yeah, I saw that sign. And it's like, no, you didn't. You think you saw that sign. You saw it on your computer, and I wish there was one, though. That'd be excellent, right? But because it was really good because it, had that serious look about it, but it had, listed, pylon, love track like that on it, which just you don't normally see on those signs. But I mean, I guess somebody is in the Joe Meek apartment, right? I mean, I think that building's still there.
Oh, yeah.
That's a heavy piece of real estate.
That'd be a good Mojo article, right?
Seriously?
Yeah. Someone should write that.
Like one of the rock writers in conjunction with like a psychic, I think. You've seen that thing where the seance where he's speaking to Buddy Holly. Have you seen that?
No.
There's it's Arena TV. It's like a BBC documentary. It's old, it's like, and it's like his brothers are in it talking about him and stuff. But they have an actual recording of Joe going into the graveyard with the tape recorder and communicating with Buddy Holly. And there's a cat that comes up and the cat meows and Joe knows that's Buddy. And it's great because it's like subtitles, and it's like, Buddy, can you hear me or whatever? And then it's got like a parentheses, meow.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit kind of snarky, but it's also funny because Joe is kind of funny as in addition to being, amazing.
Yeah.
Weird. But he was a big believer in the seance is what I'm saying. So I'm thinking.
Right.
The vibrations in that apartment would be powerful.
Hey, who's to say that cat wasn't the spirit?
I mean, yeah, I'm not.
Awesome.
All right.
I did want to ask about your name on a newer project with the Salt Collective. So they just recently put out an album, A Brief History of Blindness, and your name is attached to the song Ex Post Facto Kids. Can you talk a little briefly about that project and how you got involved?
it's a strange project, and it kind of goes back to game theory and Scott Miller, because this fellow Stefan Schuck, who is the Mr. Saul Collective, Dr. Saul Collective, he's a doctor in Paris and huge game theory fan, and at some point he invited Scott to Europe, and they recorded, I think, in Paris and also at EMI at Abbey Road, and they did some stuff together years ago. And I think a couple of those tracks are on that Supercalifragile record that came out.
Mhm.
And anyway, so he was aware of me and all these other characters that crossed paths with Scott. And anyway, so Stefan writes songs, meaning that he makes up chord progressions and puts a lot of stuff on them on these demos with his musician friends and all, but he doesn't sing them. And then the idea with this is various, superstars, or not superstars, are presented with the track, listen to this stuff and can you finish these, basically. So on that record, there were two of them that I sang and, kind of cut them up a little bit to make them into more standard rock songs or whatever, and then we recut them here a couple of years ago at this studio that I have. And then it was, the overall producer on that was Chris Damey, and then Chris mostly mixed it. I guess he mixed almost all of it. And so that's what that is. And there's two of these Salt Collective records, and they're both like this, and they have some recurring names between the two, but a few different people from one record to the next. And I don't know if he's going to do it again, but it actually works really well. And I had never done anything like that, where I like just finished something on top of a track that existed, and it was actually really kind of fun. And apparently Stefan was very happy that I used that Latin term in my title, because he's a big fan of Latin. So, but what that song was about was the kids that have been dissed by the system, and they're going to get their revenge now, and there's a lot of them out there, I think, So I think ex post facto means after the fact. It means we're going to fix the stuff that has happened in the past. And I mean, it's nonsense, it's rock music, but anyway, that's what I can tell you about that. It's a cool project and really kind of out of the blue for me, but the connection there is the fact that he was a big game theory fan.
Oh, okay. Back to game
Nice.
theory, Ronnie.
Yeah, no, always. Yeah, Mitch, I always thought you and Scott would make like your own, like David Byrne and Brian Eno did that record together. I thought you and Scott would have done a record, should have done a record together like that. But didn't.
Artists, yeah.
It didn't happen, but yeah.
No, it didn't. I mean, Scott, he was so prolific and so kind of like awesome. You kind of didn't want to tread on it, too much.
Sure.
Although he always would have these songs by the other people in his band on the records here and there, but that didn't happen. But just working on the records with him in the studio was great, because it did feel very collaborative and informal. I mean, it was like, you know what I mean. We were comfortable talking back and forth about what to do and all that.
When I was a kid, Mitch, I drove him to a radio station. This was like in '88 or '87, and I was so paranoid. Like I have the greatest songwriter in the world in my car, right? Like I'm responsible for his life. I was very paranoid. So
well,
yeah.
Well, did you ever have the experience of having Scott drive you somewhere?
No.
Maybe you don't know this. Scott is the most aggressive driver I have ever been in a car with. He's like Formula One, in San Francisco. It was like every time I went and did a session out there, I felt like we were, reshooting Bullet or something like that. It was terrifying. And he had this like 68 Oldsmobile wagon or something like that, or maybe it was a 72, kind of an old, super American station wagon. And boy, did he wring every bit of performance out of that baby. It was amazing. He was a really good driver and terrifying.
That's hard driving too. Like you get hills, curves. Like San Francisco is not easy. Yeah.
There was this one place that we consistently came upon whenever we were in San Francisco, like one of these like 90-degree turns, and the street it wasn't even like a T intersection. It was just like it just had a 90-degree corner. And right at the end of the straightaway that we were always facing was a place where people ate outside on the sidewalk. And he would come up on that at, 75 miles an hour and then make that turn. And I was always just like, my blood pressure would measure.
Of course.
And I went through that intersection with him many times, and I'm here to tell you, he didn't kill anybody. It was really,
it's funny now. Yeah.
It was something. Yeah.
My balls are in my throat just hearing about it, Mitch. Jesus.
I mean, I love this because I think the world sort of thinks as, the fluffy pop guys is people who just, are real worried about everything and play very quietly and all this kind of stuff. And it's not true.
Yeah. You just blew a little bit off that. One other thing, Mitch, I've always wondered about is you were on that trip to visit Chris Bell with Peter at Danvers restaurant, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I always wondered, because I'm not from, we didn't have Danvers. So what exactly was Danvers? Was it like it was a chain of sorts, correct?
Yeah, it was a chain, I think, just around Memphis, and it was his family's business, and I think, and it was kind of like Arby's, it had this roast beef angle.
Okay.
And it might have had one of the, this may be wrong, but I'm feeling like that Danvers might have been written in like the fence lettering or something, you know what I'm talking about?
But it was a diner, like they had waitresses.
It was more like fast food.
Okay.
But it was kind of good,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure we ate there when we went back there with our note to pass back to see if this guy would come out and talk to us,
Yeah.
And he did, and this is, I know this. Well, he came out and I was like, that's not Chris Bell, that's Ron Mayle, because he really looked like Ron Mayle. He had a little mustache and he has and stuff, and but anyway, he was really nice, and he seemed completely flummoxed at these hillbillies who come out to talk to him, because he was working in the back. But he was super nice. And then he said that if we wanted to go look around at some things, to come back and get him that night, and he'd go out with us and show us where some stuff was, which we did. And that was great.
So great that you did that. I mean, and how incredible that he was flummoxed, like that didn't happen to him all the time.
I know.
It's so sad.
That trip was interesting though, because there's that thing about what is the biblical line about a prophet who's not without honor, saving his own country or something like that. So meaning that you're not, they don't really appreciate you where you live, but it's elsewhere they think you're. And I don't think it was quite as cold as that. But on the last night we were there, because he took us over to Sam Phillips' studio where Alex Chilton was recording that Like Flies on Sherbet record, and I had met him before, but and I think that might have been the first time Alex and Chris had seen each other in a long time, and they had this sort of wary but friendly little talk there. After that, then we also hung out with Alex a few days, and I think the last night we were there, and he wasn't with us. At that point, it was just me and Will Rigby. We went into this bar, and we started talking to a couple of young women who knew what, and we told them while we were there, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we used to see Big Star. They played here now and then, And to us, that was just weird. It's like meeting somebody that saw the Beatles when they were the Quarrymen or something,
Yeah.
But to those girls, they were just another local band. Yeah, they're pretty good, kind of thing, And it's just cool that happens, but also uncool, right? I mean, there could have been a lot more famous kind of band, But yeah, that was a fantastic trip out there, and it was really great of Chris Bell to meet us, because I guess he kind of disappeared from playing for a while, and then shortly after that he formed that group that I think was called Holland, that Jody Stevens was in, and maybe Tommy Hohen, some of the characters. And he didn't live a whole lot longer after that, so I'm glad we got to meet him.
Yeah, no. How did you? Was it because that's pre-obvious? I don't have to say it's pre-internet, but who knew he worked there? Like, how did you find that out?
I'm not sure that it could have been Chris Stamey, because Chris worked with Alex in New York. Like the Trouser Press guys kind of hooked them up, and he was playing in the band, with Alex for a while there in New York City. So Alex knew all that stuff. And I remember hearing this one, like Alex said, yeah, Chris recorded this crazy song called "I'm the Cosmos." You ought to hear it, And so that's how that single thing came to pass. And and again, I think Chris called up. I think Alex told Chris how to get a hold of Chris Stamey, how to get a hold of Chris Bell, and Chris was like, "Oh yeah, if you want to put it out, that's great." I think he just wasn't really trying at that point.
Yeah.
But he was such a great musician,
Oh, incredible.
Guitar player. Both those guys are really good guitar players, actually. But Chris really was this sort of orchestrator, I think,
Yeah, like the heart and soul of the band, really. Right? Like, yeah. Anyway, well, I hate to end on a dour note there, Mitch, but so Let's Active streaming this Friday. Yeah.
Yep. So the day that this episode airs today, we'll say available. I did have one last question that somebody else wrote in that I wanted to ask about in relation to Let's Active catalog. They wanted to know if any unreleased songs, such as We Do the What If or Safety in Numbers, if any of those songs might see the light of day. Maybe like a box set for like when you do the anthology collection and the 9 episode series on Disney Plus.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they're hashing out the money on that right now, but I mean, there are a few tracks like that, and I was trying to find the multi-track. I've got the multi-tracks and that stuff, and I was trying to find some things to show people or show me how this stuff goes, and came across some of those songs, and some of them are sort of finished, and some are good because they're, it's super early days. I think later on there aren't many extra songs at all, just a handful. But it would not be one of those $300 box sets. It'd be more like the nice price box set that doesn't have a whole lot extra. But who knows? I mean, I've heard about reissue possibilities, and the thing is, as time marches on, these physical reissues become more and more exotic, I suppose. I mean, there's still tons of them, but for bands like us, I don't know who would pay to make something like that. Yeah. So, but it would be good to kind of assemble it and put it somewhere. And there is a bit of that. But right now, I'll say again, the streaming stuff is just basically what I.R.S. put out. And
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything that people haven't heard. Like you said, we do the what if, and I would think that like 4 people in the world have heard that. So it's amazing that one of those 4 wrote you about that song. But for that reason, it would be kind of cool to put that stuff out. But no plans.
Okay. Okay. And then as far as plans, there's this record that you
yeah.
put out, Dynamico, only on CD, and this is available streaming. So I saw that, I think on Spotify. No,
is
no,
all of it there? Or is it just some songs?
Oh,
No, the whole album's up. I saw
Oh,
it.
okay.
Yeah.
no
Oh,
vinyl though, right? No, no.
No, we didn't do vinyl then. I mean, it's just expensive, and I didn't know if we'd sell 4 copies. And as it stands, I have, a few boxes of them still. So, I think the CD format was fine. But I mean, if there was ever any interest in it, I mean, I think that record has its moments. If there were any interest in it,
Absolutely.
it'd be fun to do. Yeah.
You toured that record, Mitch. I found out afterwards you played the Silver Lake Lounge in Los Angeles.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's right. That was fun.
I was mad. I didn't hear about it.
Oh,
But
Speaking
Yeah.
about LA, I don't know if you'll remember this, Mitch, but I've only got to see you once with Let's Active, and it was a show. I thought it was the Whiskey or the Roxy, and I think our friends Wednesday Week were the opening band for you.
oh, wow.
I know there was the acoustic flying V or what, I don't know what that's called. I call it that you had. I thought it was on the Every Dog Has Its Day tour. Do you remember playing a show? And you played so many shows, I started looking up. I couldn't find any history for it, but
Yeah, I don't know if we played those places or not. I remember playing Lingerie and the what was and
the
the
Palace. You did the
Palace
Palace.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and Music Machine, that out,
Mm.
and we played that place. And anyway, I mean, we did play in Los Angeles several times.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I still have that Flying V acoustic. It was made by Takamine. And before when we were all like 12, we would make jokes about stuff like that. Acoustic guitar, it's a V, and then they made that. I had to have it, and it's actually a really great guitar. And got it out of the case the other day when we started practicing for the show we're about to do, and of course it was still in tune from 2 years and
Wow.
previous. I mean, it really is an unbelievably good guitar, and it will be appearing also on the 29th at our rock show. So
excellent.
I'm glad you remember that. I only ever saw one other one of those, and it was in Austin, I think, at a music store. But it was a production model that Takamine made for a while.
Wow.
I still applaud them for having the vision to do that.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. All right, sorry. So I think we've come full circle. We're back to talking about Let's Active playing.
Oh, thank goodness, because that's really where it's at, I mean,
Yeah.
in some ways, in my opinion.
Oh my gosh. So all I.R.S. catalog of Let's Active up on streaming November 28th, November 29th for our friends in North Carolina, the Ramcat, Mitch Easter and gang.
Sold out.
It's sold out, and online people are wondering who will show up, who is part of the gang. So someone's going to have to let us know after the show. But there's fans are happy, fans will be there, and thank you so much for all of this and for meeting with us today. This was really a thrill.
Well, thank you for having me. It was a great pleasure. I hope to get to talk to you again sometime, somewhere.
Yep.
Anytime.
Okay.
Anytime you want to.
You got it.
All right,
Thank
Mitch.
you.
Yeah, have a good show. Save me a poster if
Yes.
they don't all sell out.
Oh, okay. Send me your information because I don't
Yeah.
think
Okay.
but you can find me somehow. All right. Well,
See.
thank you all. So great to talk to you.
All right,
Thank
Mitch.
you. Take
Thanks,
care.
man.
Bye.
Talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye.
Okay, I don't know how. How did we do that? For about 50 minutes, talk to Mitch Easter when you could easily talk to him for 4 hours and still be short.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, for sure.
And we
Absolutely.
brought in game theory. Oh my God. All these I'm really kind of I'm verklempt right now. You guys talk for a little bit. Let me catch my breath.
Yeah, I'm verklempt too. Is that what you said?
Yeah, isn't
Yeah,
that what
no. Mitch is
I'm
great.
verklempt?
Well, just
Yeah.
be glad, Ronnie. Just be glad I didn't do this.
I was wondering, Jeff. And then
And
after we started, I'm like, Jeff didn't whip out the record.
oh no,
So,
he had the stack. He had the
yeah.
stack.
Yeah. No, that's
He
why you have the
was,
game theories handy. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
but
No, yeah. Look, we didn't even talk about the windbreaker. There's so many.
yes,
Yeah.
this is why. Let's
And
leave the door open. Let's have him come back.
that's why I was kind of curious about,
And only one
turning
mention
down
of
work.
REM.
Yeah. We briefly mentioned REM. Yeah. Yeah. Velvet Cry. There's tons. I mean, we go on and on.
Yeah. So, Ronnie, on our introduction, I was telling Soraya that I actually pulled up my Discogs database, filtered it to Mitch Easter, and it was like 100 and something records that whether he produced, engineered,
Yeah.
played on, wrote,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So
No, and
tons of stuff
that's
in my
probably incomplete too, Jeff, right?
Oh
Like
yeah.
that's
Oh no. Yeah. I definitely don't have everything.
Yeah.
But quite a bit because, like you said, Ronnie, and that was the case for me. I seriously that cutting edge thing. I've probably watched that.
Yeah.
I guess it was the second segment
Yeah.
when they came back. I probably watched that thing like 200-300 times easily, just over with Buford the dog sitting on
Yep.
the chair
Yes.
and the whole thing. But like you said, Ronnie, if I saw something that said drive-in or produced by Mitch Easter, I bought it.
Yeah.
Sight unseen.
No, and it was good. It was consistently good, something good too. Even if it's a band that only made a single, there's a lot of those, or just made an EP. There's a lot of one record bands, but yeah, if it came out of that's why it's kind of weird as a producer to have that stamp because you're not really involved in the band necessarily.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's why I was wondering. I mean, are you, I know you're not picking and choosing everything you do as running a studio, right? It's a business as well, but there was just something like he kind of said. There's just something going on back then, and all those bands found him, and even look, even Hootie and the Blowfish wanted to work with Mitch and Don, when they first formed, and
That makes sense to me. Yeah. I
yeah,
mean, it's the law of attraction, I think. It just, I mean, he's such, I mean,
yeah,
like you said, it was like the golden touch almost.
yeah,
But it was, I mean, it also had a lot to do with the bands that went to see, you know, went to him
yeah,
to lay down their stuff. But I mean, a producer, you're just trying to get the sounds that the band's already playing. He's not writing their songs, to your point. He's not performing them, and
yeah.
for the most part. But they're
Just
all
getting
good.
them, yeah, just getting the band, and then bringing out the best of them, and having it sound like it's supposed to sound. Yeah,
Pulling out
no,
the gun. Oh,
yeah,
wrong producer, right?
yeah. And look, I don't want to. What a sweetheart he is, right? I mean,
My
Mitch.
God.
Yeah.
Nice guy, and lot of he's got a wicked sense of humor too.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's a funny guy.
No.
I learned something new. There is a new wave set.
Yeah,
I like
I didn't
that.
know that
7 to 8
either. I
songs.
like that term. I like
I
that
like
term.
that.
So we're
Yeah.
doing 2 new wave sets, 7 to
Yeah.
8 songs.
I love that.
Perfect.
I
That's
like that
awesome.
too. Too bad we can't. We should have made plans, you guys.
And then
I know.
Making
Ronnie,
plans for everybody. Yeah.
he is one of us. He said, I'm a cassette guy.
Oh, yeah.
I
Yeah.
think all the Let's Active catalog that I have is on cassette.
Oh,
No.
that's funny.
My car, and Jeff was talking about the cars not having CD players. I gave up my car when I moved 14 months ago, but it was a 1995 car. It had a cassette deck in it.
There you
All
go.
right, Jeff. No, cassettes too. You could just the thing about it being kind of a disposable format. You just keep put it in the back, leave it in the car. It's not a big deal.
Mhm.
You're not gonna leave your records in the car
Right, right.
or even your good CDs. Well,
I mean,
that's a big long subject. Yeah,
yeah, that's
CD booklets and what those. Oh, they would kill the CD. Oh,
I
don't
would
get me
always make
started.
I would always make CDR copies for the car and just have CDR
Ah,
copies. So
that's
to your
good.
to your point, it was just disposable.
Yeah,
I was
that's
the
good.
queen of the cassette mixtape. I could mix
Uh,
beauty.
well,
Oh yeah,
now we have streaming available for Let's Active, so I'm very excited about this. I can just yell out my
yeah.
device's name and ask her to play a song.
Working streaming is fine. I get it. Again, like I said in the thing, like I didn't really. I dabble in it sometimes. Just want to hear a new
Sure.
some new band or something you don't necessarily want to pay for before you hear it. And but yeah, I get it now. I do. And yeah, I don't want to make this commercial about Spotify, but there's audio
Well,
books on there too if you
and
if you
and
if you pay.
I think, it's a topic we all talk about streaming, good, bad, ugly. But Mitch said it. He said, I'm not afraid of streaming anymore.
Yeah,
The technology eventually it improves and the experience gets better. I mean, what we do know is, he said, well, someone's interested in it. I mean, there's a lot of people interested in it, but
yeah,
and it's available and here it is. And it sounds good.
yeah,
He said, I've heard it. Sounds good. And Jeff, you said the whole thing about convenience and accessibility. Here we have it. So,
yeah. Most I've found watching a lot of interviews that most engineers and producers are not audio snobs at all. Like they're not like, oh, you got to hear it on the
sure.
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
The mobile fidelity gold disc
yeah, no,
pressing.
no. There's and in fact I watched an interview with Mitch last week about this REM Murmur and Chronic Sound
Right.
package that's come out, which I'm sure sounds amazing. It's $125. But Don was on the thing as well, and the audio file hosts are like, "What do you think of the sound?" And you see both Mitch and Don like they're like, "It's quiet." You know what I mean? Like,
I
yeah,
watched that too.
yeah,
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 yeah, yeah.
yeah.
It's a great interview.
It is.
I recommend it. I
It
really like
is.
the guy who does that thing, Steve Westman. And look, I dabble in all formats, as you know, and you know, I get audiophile pressings. I wanted that REM thing too. Just
Yeah.
it's not. I would like to pay less.
There
Yeah,
you go.
agreed.
And
Same.
and
Yeah,
let's just add on that at the end, when asked about, tracks that haven't seen the light of day or been played once or twice, said, yeah, maybe in the future some sort of collection. He goes, but not $300 box set, a nice price
Nice
collection.
price.
And how many of
yeah.
us didn't buy those nice price collections? We
Uh,
all have
I've got
with
those.
that sticker. Come
Yep,
on.
Yep, half those records fine. That's how you mass that collection, Jeff, right there.
Nice
absolutely.
price.
Yeah, that's the truth. You're telling the truth.
Oh
I'm
my
just
God.
kidding. I'm kidding.
I'm still pinching myself that we had a chance to talk with Mitch Easter. And I mean, his body of work is so expansive, extensive, and his stories are so good. And I did not know the Chris Bell story.
I
So
know.
you left me on a high.
Ah,
You said
nice.
a dour note. I'm pretty amazed.
Yeah.
No, I
I
hear
mean,
these stories and I've had questions for years, and he's there, and there you go.
Oh my gosh.
meeting
But
your hero at a fast food joint. How
Well,
great is that?
I knew the name stuck with me too, Danvers. I thought it was like a Denny's type thing. I knew his
Uh,
parents owned it, and you
mhm.
know, I think he was wearing a paper hat when he came from the back. Yeah, it's a legendary story, and
And how cool is that for your hero to say, yeah, 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 if you hang out a little bit, I'll take you around.
yeah, yeah.
And I'll take it, Sun Records. And yeah, a guy I know is recording in there, Alex Chilton.
No, and there's Alex,
No
and
biggie.
no, and they haven't seen. Yeah, no, it's a great story.
I mean, just all of it.
It's so
Woo!
great those guys
Yeah.
did that, right?
yeah,
Um,
Mm.
absolutely. I think they were the catalyst for the resurgence or just Big Star
Yeah,
becoming
just
the thing again.
yeah. It was the in the '80s you started hearing people like them and REM and stuff just dropping the name Big Star. I remember
The
I
Bengals.
the band. I mean the band. To be honest, the band at the time because I got my first Big Star record. I don't know, '83 or something, and yeah, the Bangles. It seemed like a calculated move to me at the time, but I was already jaded.
Oh.
But something that I thought was interesting, just in that anecdote, that story about meeting up with Chris Bell, is we kind of overlapped on that point that he made about Chris Bell. You know, like no one's. It's only when it's outside of where you live that people know you and recognize the greatness of your work. And it's the same thing with Let's Active. He said, yeah, you know, I'm kind of surprised that people, you know, wanted to hear it and, you know, still interested in it. And I think that's the thing. Let's Active was a band that, you know, we had these 4 releases, the band stops, but the band never stopped being a favorite. And
Oh yeah,
it's the fans who really kind of like push. And then, you know, the person that got this project started, Timothy Smith, um, you know, still a fan, wanted to, it said, it's not on streaming. Okay,
yeah.
let's make it happen. And so, you know, being fans of things that people don't discover or remember until later, still a good thing.
Yep.
Agreed.
Good
Agreed.
things
No,
come from it.
absolutely. Because I since I moved, my records are packed up. I don't know where I don't have access to my Let's Active stuff. So I listen to that tribute uh,
Uh-huh. Which is
album,
really good.
and just it is really good. But what translated to me is the quality of the songwriting. Because I knew every inch of every song, just even though they're different versions. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So
Yeah.
yeah. So I can't. I'm looking forward to Friday so I can.
Yeah.
I believe me, I'd like to find my records and CDs, but I don't know where they are.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
it's a shame.
So
Anyway,
again,
Ugh.
back to the convenience. So
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But wow, this
yep,
the South, what did he say? He said the South got the memo in the 80s and
yeah,
all that productivity that he was a part of. I don't
yep,
know. I
yeah.
just yeah.
nope.
Ch-
It was a good
Change,
one, you guys. Yep.
change the world. Yep. Yep. Yep.
Thanks for having
Dang.
me along on this.
Woo!
This
We
came
got to
together
thank
very
you for
quick.
that, Ronnie.
Yeah, I got. We can let people know. Jeff was like, "What about? I see the streaming. You think we could get Mitch?" And I'm like, "I'm scared. I'm paranoid to ask. I'm scared."
That was 2 days ago.
That was 2 days ago. No,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah,
then Jeff says, "Well, I'll ask."
yeah. Jeff does it. All of a sudden, it's set. Like Jesus
But let me
Christ.
tell you, Ronnie,
Yeah.
we've tried before
Without you.
Oh, you
without
have.
you, and
Okay.
we didn't get far. So
Okay.
you're our lucky charm.
Nah,
We got
he wanted to promote this stuff.
And he should.
No, I'm just kidding.
He should. And
No,
those of you
absolutely.
who can go November 29th. Well, it's sold out,
It's
so I
sold
don't know.
out,
You're
but
gonna have to sneak in. But
if you go film it and put
yes,
the clips up
please,
on
someone
YouTube
do
for us.
us that service.
Yeah.
please,
So
please.
Because I'm dying to know who is playing with him. Do you know, Ronnie?
I don't. Yeah, no.
All right. Whew,
He'll be
child.
more than capable though.
My gosh. Okay.
And he's gonna whip out that guitar that Jeff remembers
And
all these
now I
years
want to
later.
find this busy. What is it? Busy bee? What did you
What
got? The guitar?
Oh, a
Oh,
flying V.
Flying bee.
oh,
Sorry,
Flying V.
I need to go see a photo of this.
Flying V takeoff made by Takamine.
I gotta
Yeah.
look this up. So, mi
Yeah.
gente, agruviar.
Prove on, Paisley people.
Have mercy.
Say on to it, buddy.
Hi, this is Soraya.
And this is Jeff,
Our podcast is called Paisley Stage Raspberry and Rhyme.
a podcast where the two of us play music that we like and share anecdotes and background about the tunes.
We hope you'll join our conversation. And without further ado, agruviar.
Let's get groovy.
Oh.
There we go. Hi.
Hey,
How are you? Are you
I'm
able to
good.
hear us?
I am.
Oh,
there he
So,
is. Hey, Mitch.
Wow. Hey. Wow. Fantastic.
Yep. They have me along on these things too now. So
Cool. Maybe you can translate from an exotic Southern accent if that's necessary.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
I know you've had experience with.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm from Texas. Is that? It's the South, right?
Well, in some parts of it, the voices overlap, and not all of them. But I'm thinking anyway.
True.
Anyway,
You're
great.
getting all this right. The best stuff happens at the beginning. Jeff and Soraya.
Yeah, it's gonna be really flat after this.
Okay.
Okay, y'all. Thanks.
All right.
Take care.
Thanks so
See you
much.
soon.
All
Yep.
right.
Take care.
All right. Now we talk about him, you guys.
He's still here.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh,
Okay, I'm gonna turn
yeah.
this thing off. Seriously,
That guy.
it's off.
No, it's still there.
It's not off. It won't die. It's like one of these things you can't. It's like Evil Dead 2.
He tries to pull. He tried to pull a fast one. Yeah.
What is with this? I'm serious. The
Oh,
screen went
leave.
black.
I
I'm
think
gonna
the
have to,
bottom
like-
right.
I'll kick you out.
Jeff, kick him out. Let him have some peace.
Yeah.
All right,
This is the
bye,
best
man.
part of the. This is the best
Give me
part of the
my brain
interview.
back. What the hell?